Alrighty, what's up everyone? Hello, hello. Welcome to day 4 US Championships. Actually, let me switch to this one. We are in round 4 now. US Championships, US Women's Championships. Games are underway. Some games already done, actually. Well, how many games are done? One game done so far, but key game actually between Fabi and Sam Sevian. Let's see other matchups here. Lavon Darius, Mishra against Wesley So, Shanklin against Hans, Oparin Robson, Andy Woodward against A Wonder Li Yang. Let me first look at this game because I was pretty curious about this opening. And this was like super sharp. Fabi went A3. Rook D8, Rook A2. Rook E1. Ooh. Takes. So after E5, Bishop F7, here Sam played this in 49 seconds. So he had already seen that he was going to make a draw like this. Note that rook defends F2. And draw agreed. Interesting. I'm just looking at the time usage here. So A5, 12 minutes. Bishop F7, 9 minutes. And yeah, both players. Basically anticipating this draw. And then rook F8 here. Important move. Otherwise, black would be down a rook. Okay. Open Spanish lives on. Let's see. Wesley game. Wesley leading tournament now. And today he plays black against Abhimanyu Mishra. So we have Tarash, Bishop G2, CD4, castles, Bishop C5, Wesley playing very quick, Knight D4, castles, CD5, finally Wesley spent some time, but still blitzing. Here Knight D4 after 18 minutes. And Wesley plays Knight B4 in 10 seconds. So Wesley super well prepared this game. E3, Knight D5. Knight F5, Bishop F6. Wesley here just knowing everything. Just prepares this out to basically a draw. I mean, here, okay, he's already spending time. So here he spent 7 minutes. And here he spent 10 minutes. So he kind of calculated this out. B6. Okay. And this should be a draw. White can't really ever take because then black would be promoting, but black also can't really ever make progress because white is just going to keep the rook behind and then give checks from behind, and the black king can't really go anywhere. So I'm expecting this one to be a Draw. Hello, Dakash Akora. No, excuse me. Daksh Aurora. Hello, welcome to the stream. How are you? Okay, so this one I'm expecting draw between Mishra and Wesley. Let's check out Shankland versus Hans. Let's see what Sam here is up to. So Nimzo Indian with E3. Takes, A3. Queen C2. Black plays C5 and C4. Bishop E2. Let me see the time usage. So time usage, here Hans, okay, spends 3 minutes. Another 3 minutes. And then 30 seconds on C5, and then 3 minutes on C4. 5 minutes on knight A6, B3, knight B4, CB, queen B, bishop F5, E5. And Sam actually has been playing very quickly this whole opening. So he was blitzing all this out. Queen B1. And Sam only spent time here. After bishop F5, he played A5. He spent 5 minutes here. Rook C8, bishop D2. Another 5 minutes here for white. And then G3, 9 minutes, almost 10 minutes on G3. So now white starts to spend time, although Hans continues. Hans actually very interesting time usage. It's like always 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. It's like middle. It's like he's not blitzing, but he's also not spending a ton of time. Okay, rook Fc1, rook C7, knight E5 played. 15-minute think on knight to E5. And, okay. Seems like a very logical move. Black doesn't really want to take because knight on B4 will hang. So rook C8, queen B2, knight C2, take. And then it doesn't take. I guess knight E4 there. So, okay, this game has seen some sharp calculation. So queen B2, knight C2, takes. He goes knight G4. So white is sacrificing the exchange, plays knight G4, bishop E4, takes here, GF, bishop G4, F5, bishop E2. Okay, these moves are very difficult to understand without analyzing deeply or with a computer. So let's just assume something happened here. I'm not really sure what, but this is the live position. F5, bishop B2, and white is down the exchange, but it's not so clear because he has this like F3 idea. So bishop is under pressure, pawn on D5 is hit. So to me, this is still a very concrete situation. I'm not sure what's happening. Bishop B4, a lot going on in this position. Hey Fuschas, what's up? How many moves ago did the pawn reach the 7th rank? Oh, yeah, that's the Wesley game, right? Oh, they've already finished their game. They've agreed to a draw. Yeah, basically he pushed B2 really quickly, so he didn't really try to bring his king. I'm not sure what he can do. The problem is if the pawn is on B3, then white is starting to take. Yeah, so if you like move the king, then white can just take this pawn, and the rook is still in time to come back, and then the king can't go very far because white will have this h pawn. And if black takes, then white can still create a passed h-pawn, and again, black's king can't really do much. So I think he played b2 just kind of forcing a draw, like, okay, freezing white's rook, but also, yeah, essentially this gives up all of black's winning chances as well. So, but I don't think Wesley was trying to win at this point. I think there's just no winning chances to be had, basically. Oh, thank you, Daksh. Thank you. Grand Swiss coverage was amazing. Thank you. Much appreciated. You had a question. How to use woodpecker method book? It's follow the instructions. What's the problem? What's the problem, my friend? Just read the first chapter. It explains the instructions. Okay, so that means Wesley continues to lead here, 3 points out of 4. Fabi 2.5 out of 4. But someone could catch him. For example, Levon has 2 out of 3. So if Levon were to win today against Darius Schwirtz, then Levon would catch up to Wesley and join him going into first rest day. Levon's position looks rather equal for now. Sevian drew, Mishra drew. So yeah, only Levon can catch Wesley with a win. So let's see what he did. He did English. With e4. So-called Botvinnik system. But it's also like reverse Rossolimo, actually, guys. If you go to the women's events, real quick, we'll see that basically we have same position in this game. Tatev against Talia. So you guys remember that other position we saw. See, same position. Except here white has extra move rook e1. So this is what Levon is playing, this setup, but with white. So he's playing this setup, but with extra tempo. So if black were to play rook e8, basically is that position. Instead, black decided to take. This is also how Tatev played it in that game. She took here, queen e2. And f3. They're basically playing like very similar game except with reverse colors, which is really interesting. Knight c5, knight e1. So Levon here playing Rossolimo. Rook d1, f3, takes here. Yeah, I like how he played it. I don't know if he is really ever better here, but I like how he played it. Okay, here's some tactics. So 11 minutes he spends and decides to go for this. Here. Okay, so this is live position. Move 27, so 13 moves to make. And Levon has big advantage on the clock, which is usual, because Darius is often in time trouble, so he is no stranger. And, but yeah, looking at the position, I mean, to my Patzer eyes, I would be happy here as white, because I have a target on c5 and a target on a4. But of course, concretely, probably black is doing fine. So my guess is like computer would say it's roughly equal, but to me I feel like white is definitely, I would definitely rather be white here. If you ask me 100% of the time, I would take white if I could choose. Hello, head of dog, how's it going? Oh, did that happen in Alekhine Capablanca? Yeah, because those guys, they played a lot of Queen's Gambit declines. So, yeah, Darius here going to be in time trouble, but he's very, very used to playing on the 30-second increment. Okay, somewhat relevant question. Do you have tips on playing 3+2 blitz with only the 2-second increment when your opponent still has a minute? And what to think about on the opponent's time? I mean, first we have to agree that this is not a situation we want to be in. So I don't like that. I don't like this whole whatever time control I play, I push my time down to the increment. I don't. Why are we just accepting that as like a fact? That's not a good strategy. It's like you're asking me, hey, what's the best strategy for playing down 2 pawns? No matter what the opening is, I always give up 2 pawns. Now what should I do? Okay, we can talk about how to play down 2 pawns, but I just want to address the fact that you shouldn't just be down 2 pawns in every game that you play. So let's just agree that like that should be the main thing you work on, especially in Blitz. Blitz is a game that's what? It's chess, but with less time. And so what you're doing is you're giving your opponent, like 30 times more time than you. Right? That's not a thing in classical. In classical chess, right now, okay, Levon has 40 minutes versus about 6 minutes. So he is like maybe 7 times more time than his opponent, which is, okay, kind of manageable for black because he gets 30-second increment. In Blitz, you're saying you have 2 seconds against a minute, which is 60 seconds. So 30 times less time than your... So let's realize how dramatic this is, okay? But yeah. So let's talk about the question. If you happen to get into a situation where you're much lower on the clock than the opponent, what can you do? I would try to think about what they're going to play, right? So try to come up with what move you think they're going to play and then your response to that move. And probably it's better to look wide, right, rather than deep. So try to come up with multiple candidate moves for their opponent and how you would respond against each of those moves. There's only so much you can calculate because you have 2 seconds. So I don't have great advice. I mean, I'm not a bullet specialist. Far from it. So maybe there's better advice out there. But what I do when I have low time is I try to anticipate the opponent's moves and try to figure out what I'm going to do against them. So definitely you don't want to calculate. So if we just take this position, for example, let's say we're playing white. We have 2 seconds on the clock. Opponent can move any second. I would just think like, okay, rook b8, that has no threat. I'm going to go king g2 on rook b8. Okay, what else? Maybe queen d6. Okay, I'll go queen d2 on queen d6. But then you might see, okay, this, right? And you're like, okay, maybe I'll go queen d1, rook d2. But you can't really think too long. Or maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to take on c5 no matter what they do. So you just have to calculate very short but accurate variations, yeah? Oh, Sam Sweet is here. Sam can probably help with talking about what to think about when you're down to your increment, because he's an expert. But my main advice is that you don't want to every game I just get low on the clock and then I lose. It's like, no, like don't do that. Don't get low on the clock. Like that's bad. That's bad what you're doing. That's not good strategy. You need to not do that. It's a major problem. And people don't respect it. They don't respect it with the same respect that they give an issue of like, oh, I have bad openings, or I have bad end games, or I don't see tactics. If like you were missing tactics every single game, you would tell yourself like, shoot, I really have to work on my tactics. What am I doing? This is what's happening, but with your time management. So if this is happening every game, you have to address that before you work on anything else. It's a very big problem. You can't win if you're flagging. Okay, the Shankland Hans game is crazy. So Levon here plays rook c2, and he's just kind of massaging the position. I don't know. To me, black's position looks very unpleasant, especially with no time. Like rook b5. There's rook takes a4 already. Maybe takes rook a2. Takes c5. Okay, goes rook a5. Okay, nice move. Yeah, Darius is very strong. So now Levon, he's just gonna. I think king g2 is an idea. I think queen d2 could be played, but queen d2 maybe he drops back. Rook a6. A3 maybe a3. White could think about, but then that always allows rook b3. So I don't know if I don't think he wants to play a3. I don't think we're going to see a3. It's just making a weakness. That's not good. That's not good. I think queen d2 or king g2 we're going to see from Levon. And then maybe we'll switch to Shanklin game against Hans, because that one is definitely very, very... That one is crazy. Honestly, I have no idea what's happening there. We should probably look at that one. But I'm going to say Levon here slightly better. Okay, look at the Shanklin game. So here, h5. Honestly, I haven't understood a single thing about this game. White took. I mean, taking... Okay, but like, why not f3? Is it h4? Take. And king kind of opens up. What else would White be afraid of here? Oh, maybe he can take and snap. Uh-huh. Okay. And then he gets his piece back, and then... Yeah, I mean, black has 2 pawns up. Maybe white's fine, but white is not... This is not what white wants. So it takes on h5. King g7. So Hans didn't have to play h5 necessarily, because f3 it feels like wasn't actually a threat in view of takes and rook c3. Which is an interesting exchange, like, because black is up the exchange, but then he gives up rook for 2 pieces, but gets the piece back. So giving the exchange back essentially, but for many pawns. But I don't know what moves black is supposed to play here. Maybe just king g7. But he goes h5. So he's like sacrificing the pawn, and Sam just takes it. King g7. He drops back. Rook h8. This is super scary. I mean, now black's running rook h2, queen h4. This one we can calculate, right? Like if it's black to play, rook h2. Oh, rook h2, knight takes e4. So is he threatening a double sack? If it's black to play, guys, could he be threatening rook takes c3 and then rook takes h2? Like a Rotlevi-Rubinstein super sack. Wow, this would be very scary. Oh, GM Nerdiski, thank you for the raid. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome. We are watching U.S. Championships here. Round 4. Going into rest day. Hello, how are you guys doing? This game actually is getting extremely tense. Because Hans here, he's up the exchange, he just sacrificed this pawn on h5. And rook h8 is the last move, and then I was just trying to figure this out. I'm thinking black actually has a huge threat here. Rook takes c3. And then rook takes h2. Which would be extremely dangerous. So for example, if white were to play rook c1, rook takes c3. White takes with something. I'm not sure what. And then rook takes h2. And normally this is the part where we'd say welcome to the dojo, but Sam Shanklin is he's more of a dojoer, so he unfortunately is the one getting welcomed. But yeah, this would be game over. This would be game over. I don't know, maybe rook c3, but then rook h2 anyway. Here white would have... Okay, so if takes, in either line, it's queen h4 check and queen h1. But maybe f3 or f4. Yeah, f3 I was thinking black takes and then probably comes in. This looks like black would be mating. But maybe f4. But still, black is... he only gave back the exchange here, right? With rook c3. So he's not down material at all. So with bishop on e4, I mean, it's got to be... Okay, it's just winning immediately, right? It's just check and it's just immediately winning a piece. So f4 instead of rook c1. Yeah. So I'm just showing the threat. Rook c1, rook c3. That's a major problem. So h4 play. H4 play. So he deals with h2. And now, can Hans go for some kind of sacrifice anyway? Like rook c3 or rook h4. Rook h4 takes, queen takes knight e4. Hard to see exactly if that's working for black. I'm not sure. So maybe takes here, and then takes here, learning mates. But is this working though? Takes, and f something. f3, f4, f4, f3. Let's say f4. Check, bishop e2. Don't quite see it. Feels like black is down a rook. Yeah, I don't see how to get in here. So I don't think this is working for black. So 14 minutes for Hans. But at least his bishop on e4, I mean, it feels pretty safe now. I don't think white can really dare to go f3 ever and allow bishop takes g3, queen takes h4. You just get mated. So he is up the exchange here, but it's for one pawn, and structure is kind of sus for black, right? Like, if d5 ever falls, it could be a problem. Thanks for following, folks. Thanks for following, by the way. Welcome to the channel. This is Chess Dojo. I'm Kostya. I'm one of 3 people on this channel if you're new here. It's actually a group channel. We have a great community if you're interested in like chess improvement and working on your own game, finding training partners, and definitely you guys should check out our Discord server. It's very active, and in our YouTube channel we have tons of great content there as well. So yeah, I don't know. This position is very hard for me to judge. Actually, I don't know. What do you guys think about the position? Like maybe you're rooting for someone or someone else, but like, what do you think about who do you think is better? Who do you think is gonna win? By the way, no engines, please, guys. We try to watch without engines here. So if you have the engine knowledge, then please keep it to yourselves. But yeah, we just find it much more fun to feel the game with our own, our own eyes and ideas. Feels like black is better, right? Yeah, because he has this extra exchange. Rooks seem pretty good. That is the Shanklin rule about rooks, is like when you're up the exchange or down the exchange, first question to evaluate the exchange sacrifice is how good are the rooks. And here black's rooks are pretty decent. They definitely have a lot of like potential here. White has this a pawn. Like, you can imagine even in some endgames this a pawn becomes a problem. So yeah, it feels like black is on the verge of maybe even breaking through. Now with this rook c6 move, I feel like Hans is he's planning some dirty stuff. I think he really wants to sack on h4 and get his rook ready to enter. So here he might be ready. He might be ready. We're getting ready to sack on h4. Yeah, he would have enough pieces to give mate. Let's say rook c1, for example, our favorite neutral move. Rook takes h4. Takes, queen takes, threatening mate. And then if f3 or f4, let's say f3, I think this bishop just goes somewhere. Like, let's say bishop a3 with tempo. And I think this would be leading to mate. So this is the kind of stuff Hans is calculating. Both players are calculating, I would presume. Oh, maybe bishop d3 here as like a move to seal off the king. But I don't think we need it, actually. I think the bishop is already sealing off the king, and we just give the classic ladder mate. King go bishop h2 instead of queen h4. Oh, that might be even stronger. Okay, definitely can't take because mate and check and mate. Mate and check. Would have to go king f1. Maybe this is also good, but... Well, on queen h4, there's also knight takes e4. So it's not that easy. So very, very complicated, actually. Yeah, it's not clear to me if black is starting at rook h4, because takes, and then knight takes e4. And I don't quite see, because white is trying to trade off a lot of material. Hello, Luke. Hello, how's it going? Thank you for following, Jacob. Okay, Sam has idea to give check, and then this check. But then take? What about takes, though? Did you consider this one? Okay, probably the idea was to take here. But I don't know if there's mate. Like, I think the light square bishop was super important. I think. Like, I would think that this is defending for white. And then white has, like, 2 pieces for the rook. Oh, you wanted rook g6? Okay, here. And king is trying to escape. So rook g1, king e2. It's not like black is actually down that much material. It's like you have rook against 2 pieces, basically, and pawns are roughly equal. But if the king does get safe, then I think black would be in trouble, because like the pieces would be pretty strong eventually. It's like 28 moves away, but eventually. Wait, we have a move? No, rook c6. Okay, Shanklin's still thinking. So yeah, I didn't quite feel it there. This is the tough part about Sam's position, is that he has to defend. So he has to figure out if rook h4 is a threat. Hans doesn't have to take, right? Hans only has to take if he thinks it's winning, right? But Sam has to make sure that he isn't allowing rook takes h4, or even if he has to find like best chance here. Oh wait, I miscounted. Black was down 2 pieces. Oh, okay, then I'm sorry. yeah. If white's king gets away, then of course it's just lost. I kept thinking it's yeah, it was 2 pieces. It was 2 pieces. .94 play. Okay, this is one way to deal with the threats. Just take this guy. But that means, yeah, you give up on all your f3 hopes. But okay, that's what he had to do. Okay, so does Hans fix his structure or play for mate with queen takes e4? If you play queen e4, you're kind of keeping the c2 square. So it's like you're playing for activity over structure. You keep control over the c2 square. You don't allow like any bishop c2, or you also look for like the sack ideas, like bishop g3, rook g6 stuff. But white's going bishop e1, but then this is hanging. You're going to play for a loss with de4. Yeah. What's up, Joel? So fe feels like the normal sane move. Excuse me. Queen e4 feels like the Hans move. You know, just like I play best move in position no matter what structure says. Or that's the thing about Hans's chess. If we can talk about his chess for a second, right? Just talk about Hans's chess. He often makes like very controversial decisions, I found. Like, he leaves this, like, here it would be totally like him to play queen e4. In fact, he's thinking about it, right? He's thinking here. He's not... How many players would just blitz out fe just to fix their position? But here he's definitely thinking about... I think all strong players would be thinking about queen e4. But I also feel like it's very like Hans to play anti-positional moves. That's funny, Joe. Hans makes controversial decisions both on and off the board. I was just trying to talk about his chess. You know, he makes tricky decisions. 10 minutes, by the way. Move 30, so 10 moves to make. It's not like the most chaotic position. He could just take here, go queen e6, and still try to set up a sacrifice, but maybe he's thinking about d4 and like some f4 stuff. I'm not sure. Now d4, yeah, is playable. So d5, bishop e5 is, I think, okay for black. Queen moves, bishop takes rook. I think black is doing all right thing. But d4, of course, is anti-positional because it's like, yeah, keeping black's pawns doubled. Queen e4, have to calculate queen takes b7. Absolutely. Actually, that's not an easy thing to figure out there. Okay, so he just makes the same decision, fe4. Would anti-positional positions be richer in tactics? Well, I think I was thinking about it more about like anti-positional like decisions. Like here, fe4, this is like strategically sound or by the book or correct or whatever you want to call it. Because it's like fixing your structure, it's capturing towards the center, it's like following all these principles. But in certain cases, tactically, you know, queen takes e4 might have been the right move if you're giving check and winning some material, or de4 might have been correct if the follow-up break with f4 was particularly strong. So in the sense of like, in terms of one decision, a lot of times tactics can still reign supreme. And that's why Hans was spending time here, because of course he understands that fe4 is like the normal move, but he was making sure that concretely he didn't have something stronger, like maybe queen e4, keeping the queen active, or de4 with some f4 ideas. Yeah, also here it's like the d pawn remains a target. So you could even make the argument that fe4 is not even positionally correct, like maybe de4 was positionally better. Okay, rook b1 played by Sam. Pretty quick. So he's and thing, Sam is the one down material. He's the one down the exchange. So he's kind of like trying to hold on. I don't think he's really necessarily like playing for, well, he's playing for compensation, but I feel like Sam White would definitely be happy with a draw here. I think black is the one with more potential. Queen b3 was an interesting suggestion from Jim. I'm not sure what black would have played on queen b3. Maybe, I mean, I guess he always has not rook h5. That would be blunder, but he does have rook d8, I guess, to set up a discovered attack. But rook d8 is not really where the rook wants to go, so I'm wondering queen b3. What else? What else would black have played there? I'm not really sure. Not sure what he would have done on queen b3. But rook b1, asking if black wants to play rook c7 here, so that the rook isn't able to slide over. Because what Hans wants to do, Hans wants to like sack, go rook g6, bishop e1, queen takes h4, break in, and give mate. If he can get queen h4 in with the rook on g6 with the pin, then black would be crushing. But if he has to go rook c7, then bishop g3 is not happening. So bishop g3 is a move right now. b5 suggested, giving white past b pawn. And then I guess the idea would be bishop g3. 7 minutes for Hans, so he has to make a decision here. Do Hans and Sam have 3 draws each? I believe no. Sam won. He beat Darius in one game where he won like Rook and Knight endgame, and then he lost to Wesley. And Hans has made 3 draws. Okay, just keeping an eye on other games here. Oh, so Levon game has kind of liquidated into this Rook endgame. So let's just see what happened here to get an understanding. So Queen D2, Queen here, Queen D6, and Bishop takes C5. So he decides to take. Of course, he could have kept the tension more with like Queen D3 or Rook D2, but Levon decides to take the pawn. So Darius goes into pawn down Rook endgame, Rook B6. And the question is, can White milk this into anything? Because it's really hard if number one, Black is wanting to win back the pawn very quickly here. Like if Rook C2, well, Rook C2 would have been a certain question, but then probably Black just starts bringing in the king and eventually rounds up this pawn. So Levon gives check, and maybe now we'll go back Rook C2. So here he's thinking. Here he is thinking. So Rook C2 is one option. Or he might think that if Black plays Rook takes B2, his D pawn gets dangerous, but is that the truth? Hard to say. So yeah, the time is what makes this game interesting, because if Black had more time, I would think he is likely holding this one pretty comfortably, but because he only has 2.5 minutes and he's playing, I'd argue, one of the top 10 strongest players of all time by pure strength in terms of their peak rating, don't at me. Since he's playing someone so good, you know, Levon might be able to pose some interesting questions. Yeah, I don't think what I said was controversial at all. I mean, in terms of peak ELO rating, Levon is number 4, right? 4th strongest player ever. If we just look at peak ELO, which a lot of people don't. I don't know why. So yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is like Levon's pretty good. You know, he might come up with a trick here in this Rook endgame. Now, to my Patzer IM eyes, Rook C2 seems like the move. Oh, played. Oh, let's go. Let's go. No, but that just means that he doesn't have any like fancy tricks. So he just goes back and yeah, makes normal move. And yeah, now White will bring the king. Maybe he can hold on to his extra pawn. It's not like in the other line, Black was playing here, here, here very quickly. This way, the king has less scope. So White can bring in the king, play Rook to D2, and yeah, he might be able to squeeze a little bit here. So go Levon. Okay, other games. Actually, we haven't seen. Oh, guys, Hans sacrificed the rook. Holy moly. So not bishop g3, he just went rook takes h4. Mamma mia. Takes. And now king f1. Sam is making a run for it. So Hans down a piece, playing for checkmate, and bishop g3. Ooh, that's a painful move. That is a painful move. Okay, what's his idea, guys? Let's start working. Bishop e1. What does he want? Rook f6. White probably can't take. That looks like the king gets mated. So bishop e1, rook f6, king e2, bishop takes f2. Let's say bishop comes out, bishop b3. Queen g4 check. Or maybe no, maybe they're just bishop takes e1. Just bishop takes e1, rook e1, rook f2. Oh yeah, I think he's got it. I think he's got it, guys. So here's the line here, here. And now black is threatening what exactly? I don't know. So actually king e2 maybe is not necessary to run away. But this seems like this is winning for black, so white doesn't get out. But he doesn't have to go king e2, because what is black's threat exactly? Check on h1, check on f3, king f1. What is black's threat here, guys? Houseline, thanks for rating. Guys, go follow Houseline on Twitch.tv. He's one of our dojo regulars, working on his chess. Guys, we're watching U.S. Championships here, round 4. Very critical game between Sam Shankland and Hans Niemann. And they have this on the board. Do they have this already? Yes. So king f1. Hans sacrificed a rook. He was up the exchange, guys. Up the exchange. And he sacrificed a rook after he was building this up. So he started spending a lot of time here. In fact, this whole thing started from back here with a 23-minute think on this move h5. Where he sacrifices this pawn. He's up the exchange. He's trying to convert. He brings his pieces to the to open files, intending to sacrifice, and then boom, delivers. White has to take, runs away. Now bishop g3, exclam. If you take, we didn't really calculate this, but okay, we figured that this is leading to checkmate. So that's mate. King can't go anywhere, legally speaking. So going back, white played bishop e1. Okay, we were thinking this is key. Rook f6 played, as expected. But now white's next move, actually, it seems like white has some options here, because so far we haven't figured out what black's threat is. But okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, rook bi in the YouTube chat suggests queen h1 followed by queen g1 could be a threat. Because if you took the bishop, then queen g2 is mate. So that's a pretty... It's a pretty nasty threat. Or queen h1, queen g2 as well. Yeah, actually, queen h1, queen g2. So Hans basically, this is what he needed to see from afar. Because he did spend a few of his, not many remaining minutes, 4 minutes here on rook takes h4. So he had to see this idea, of course, and that he's breaking through on f2. So if check and queen g2, and then he's taking on f2, that's a disaster for white, because everything collapses and his king is just not going to get out. Black is attacking with everything here, and this pawn also is just like, just makes it so hard for white. Even if white's king gets out, he's going to lose the f pawn, the e pawn, maybe the d. It's like everything will fall. Queen as well, probably. So yeah, really difficult position here for white. So if bishop b3, for example, we're thinking check, and then here. And then we're taking on f2, and rook is coming into f2. So that's the threat here for black, which looks incredibly difficult for white to deal with. So Sam, tough game yesterday against Wesley. Now I think also going to be very, very difficult. Yeah, good point, Fisher. If rook c1, then black can immediately break through like this. Typical breakthrough. So really difficult position. Okay, queen c2. When you're defending, you try to just eliminate moves. So okay, rook c1 is bad, you know, king e2 is bad, so you just try to find a move that's not so easy to figure out. Okay, queen c2 makes a lot of sense. He's trying to kind of run with the king this way. So this makes it a little bit faster to get the king out of harm's way. But it still looks really, really promising for black because there's always rook c6 coming up as well. Do we have cams on the players? No, but if you go to the St. Louis broadcast, you can probably see the players there. I'm sure they're going to be following this game. But yeah, that obviously comes with engine spoilers, guys. So please don't share those with us if you can avoid it. Thank you so much. But yeah, let's stick with this game. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on the other games here. We have Andy against a Wonder, which is a sharp endgame. Oparin Robson. Looks like Oparin has small advantage. And then Levon game. Levon has extra pawn and rook endgame, but I think will be very difficult to convert it. I feel like black has good chances there. Okay, 5 minutes for Hans. So it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. I mean, he has to find moves, you know? He has to find moves on his own. So check. And here looks like the most logical. Then king d2, I think Sam wants. And bishop takes f2. And bishop e2, suggestion from Foos. But I think this one is game. It's a nice variation. I will show it. Okay, you still have king d1, but this is main idea, which I think is a checkmate. So king d1 would have to be played. But then, like, yeah, black takes on d4, maybe rook c6. It's like, okay, white doesn't lose immediately, but it feels like a horrible position because you have no pawns. And yeah, king is still in huge danger. So this doesn't feel like a position white can really hold. But 3 minutes for Hans, so he's not blitzing out. It's queen h1, queen g2. Yeah, rook takes b7 there at the end. So, I mean, the game continues, but black had 3 pawns, I think, for the piece, and king was very open. Okay, gives check. King e2 pre-moved. And now we're expecting queen g2. I still think that's, yeah, kind of the best black could do. Maybe there's some rook c6. Okay, now king d2. I mean, I don't think we have another move other than king d2. At least nothing has been suggested. Because, well, the immediate threat, guys, is rook takes f2, made in 2 moves. So you have to deal with rook takes f2 first and foremost. So king d2 feels like the only legal move, right? Is there even another move? No. Okay, thank you, Sam. So king d2, bishop takes f2 played. And here he might have an option, but anything other than bishop e2 seems to just lose on the spot to bishop takes e1.
And the rook f1. So now bishop e2 also feels very necessary. What else can he do? King c1, maybe take. Maybe rook c6. King c1 might be playable with the pin. Yeah, very interesting sacrifice. I love it when there's like these high stakes games, huh? In US championships. All the cameras on the players, you know, they're playing with these super fancy wooden sets, but they're still playing this like coffee house like sacrifice. Bishop e2, rook f3, maybe. Maybe, I guess still king d1. Well, think about rook f3 is like, are we trying to take here? Because we can take right away. Take right away. Oh yeah, king c1, bishop takes, and here, yeah, exactly. Oh, and he does take here, nice. So Hans finds the tactic that I spotted ages ago. Ages. I'm just kidding. He was looking at other stuff. He saw it immediately. He's very good. And then, let's see, is he gonna take here, guys, or... Because maybe there's like some rook c6. Can't go bishop c3 because queen g1 check. You're just out of defenders. So rook c6, probably queen b3. Then I don't really see the knockout. King takes, queen g5 was mate. Yes. Yes, exactly. I think he's just going to take here, and then we'll probably get this position with rook takes b7. And yeah, I don't know. Actually, it is hard to evaluate, but I gotta feel like I would take black there. I gotta think I would take black. Queen g1 played. Okay, Hans has other ideas. He's like, how about I just try to win immediately with bishop f2? But bishop f2, king d2, what he wants. What is his idea? Maybe just take and take on d4. Maybe he's just trying to trade off the dark square bishops and play against the light square bishop. Very interesting, very interesting. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, Levon still pressing. Yeah, nothing really changed in the other games. Andy's game is very interesting today against the winner Liang, but very complicated. I mean, we have our hands full with this one. But it feels like Andy might be... I don't know. That one is super... I don't know. If you guys have thoughts on the Andy game, you let me know. It's like he's got 2 pawns, but I wonder has this like very strong B pawn. I feel like I wonder's probably fine there. Wonder's probably fine. Queen c8 played. Queen c8. Sam, he could have spent more time here, but he plays this one relatively quickly. He's looking for queen g4. Endgame won't necessarily save white because in the endgame, black has 3 connected pawns that are very strong in any endgame, basically. But I think what white is maybe hoping for is like if you can trade queens, take on b7, rook b6, and then this a pawn, you know, like you only need 1 pawn to win the game. So this can go horribly wrong for black in the next couple of moves since he only has 3 minutes. So what are moves for black? Rook g6 is an option, sure. Absolutely. Wait, doesn't this lose a piece? How so? Bishop f2, queen g4, rook g6. Oh! Bishop f2, queen g4, rook g6. So not rook g6 here. Bishop f2 and then rook g6. Sam might have blundered that because I blundered that. So he might have blundered it. But bishop f2, king d2. I guess bishop e1, queen d4, and rook c6. King d2, e3. Yeah, I did tell you guys to start being serious. So I'm glad we're calculating now for real. Now we're doing analysis for once. What move number? This is Han's 40th move. So he has one move to find bishop f2. 90 seconds. Rook g6 here also looks tempting. Just like you stop queen g4, you still can't play here because of this. Bishop c3, queen takes b1, and then you're up the exchange. So this also looks annoying, where you just keep your threats. But bishop f2 feels like a clear win for Hans. I'm not sure, Fisher. I assume it was winning. But why are we taking on e1 with the rook? Why not take with the bishop? Bishop g5 played. Oh my god. Guys, he didn't find the move. Well, I don't even know if it was the best move. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe this is stronger. I mean, this also looks pretty annoying. Okay, you guys hate bishop g4. Okay, guys, I don't know. I mean, it also looks interesting. He's hitting d4 with a check, and then he wants rook c6 check. Is it really so bad? Guys, he's 27-38. Let's give him some benefit of the doubt, yeah? I mean, what? I don't understand. I understand he didn't play our move, but I mean, who are we? Who are we? Yeah, no, I mean, he's pretty good, guys. Look, let's just focus on the chess, okay? I mean, he's 27-40. 27-40. No, I mean, it looks pretty strong. It looks pretty strong because this is a problem. Yeah, you know, Fisher, you might be right. Maybe Hans thought that endgame isn't so easy and just comes with simpler way. Okay, if queen c5... Just to analyze. Okay, guys, just to analyze. Maybe here, take. And this might be a problem. Turning mate. Does white have defense here? If check, there is a check. Check, we go king g6. But this one looks winning, right? Queen c1 is the threat. Yes, excuse me. Excuse me. Queen c1 is the threat. Bishop f2, we mate here. C. Okay. So Sam here, he has 10 minutes, but they main move 40, so he has extra 30 minutes behind. What did Hans see all that? Well, I don't think he saw bishop G. I mean, this I think he just found right now. I think when he sacrificed, he saw this already. And that he saw that he was breaking in on f2, but I don't think he saw. I don't think he saw like this one necessarily. I think he saw he was breaking out on f2. He decided it's enough, and then once he got here, he found this and. Yeah, maybe white has to take on b7 here. If queen c3, let's say here, queen b2 is the idea. It just looks tremendously passive for white, for one. Like, what's white's next move, yeah? So I would think black is in control. You can't go f5 right away because this hangs with check, but maybe you can like, maybe you can improve the king and then play f5. Right, or maybe you have like e3, bishop h4. I feel like there's a lot of it. Maybe bishop h4 right away and then e3. But yeah, this looks really good for black. You know, Oscar, I don't think it's actually that insane. Like, if you just go back, because of course he was already looking to sacrifice for several moves. But here, okay, he spent like 4 minutes, which is not a lot of time, but I would say finding this one is not so crazy. I would say this is like a pretty thematic sacrifice. Would I be able to play it with 4 minutes? You know, probably not. I'm like, I would probably spend more time than. But he spent like 4 minutes earlier, then another 4 minutes. But I would say this idea is like we've seen sacrifices like this before, where it's like you open up the thing and, yeah, you end up kind of breaking through and piling on. But I would say very like instructive, nonetheless. Don't get me wrong. It's not high level. I mean, this is not like textbook. I don't want to give the impression it's textbook. But let's just say I'm sure Sam wasn't exactly like so impressed by it. You know, Sam probably like saw it coming a mile away as well. Okay, rook takes b7 played. So we were thinking, yeah, this might be one of the best chances for white, just to, because now black can take on d4, but he doesn't get rook c6 with check. So white kind of destabilizes the square and activates his rook. So if black is not fast here, of course, white can immediately create threats of his own. Maybe if the rook strays, there's some rook takes f7 potential as well. So takes on b7. Now I'm expecting queen takes d4. The intuition to go for definitely impressive. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, I would see like David making a sacrifice like this very easily. You know, maybe I'm biased. So yeah, clock's just run out. So now this is the correct time for the players. David, very good sacrificer. He's a very good attacker. So maybe, yeah, he's not the best measure. I just want to check in with this game, guys, Tatev's game, because she's in time trouble against Talia, but looks like she sacrificed an exchange. I just wanted to see this one up close. It looked good for white, but I just want to make sure. Oh, yeah, she has 3 pawns for the exchange. So Tado's winning this one. Tado's winning. Go Tadev. Oh, c4. Oh, yeah, she's confident. She's confident here. She wants to go d5. And black's rook is tied down to h7. So black would like to play rook e8 to slow down the pawns, but then this one falls with check. So yeah, this is completely winning for white. I think earlier black was doing okay. This was Rosalimo. But somehow, okay, black played c4, e4. Wow, so Talia here sacrificed 2 pawns, which, okay, with the 2 bishops you're allowed to do. f3 wins the exchange, but maybe this position is not so clear, huh? Because if white wins the e-pawn, then white has 3 pawns. Looks like that's what happened. Rook f6, and black just wasn't able to mate. Oh, knight f5, nice move. Wow. I mean, it's very concrete. Like here, black can take the rook, but then this one ends up hanging. So I don't know if Tadev saw this, but this to me feels like, yeah, black spent a bunch of time here. 18 minutes and then another 9 minutes on e4, but it might not have been good objectively. It's hard to calculate. You see rook f6, rook h6. I mean, this looks like mate, but somehow the knight is able to defend on f5. Oh, and she took, and now it's bad. I guess queen d2 check, king g3, and everything kind of runs out. King takes. I guess not wanting to see here, and rook takes c2. Keeping the 3 pawns, and now knight on f5 is just a monster. So very instructive exchange sacrifice here. Wasn't really sacrifice, but you get the idea. Okay, hold on. Things still complicated. Rook g6, h5. Okay, probably g5. Played. Good. Go Tadev. Yeah, this kind of just keeps everything locked in, not letting the rooks open up. Shanklin's rule, right? When you're evaluating exchange sacrifice, you ask how good are the rooks. Here, the rooks are not very good. Here, black's rooks are very, very passive. And white can just slowly play like rook h4, g4 is a threat. And then just winning this one using the pin on the h-file. This is, yeah, completely over. d5. The knight's just too strong. Knight's just too strong. Okay, king e6. King e6. Actually, Talia very much fighting back. Although white could play g4 here. h4 and then just take that one. And that would be 4 pawns. But also possible to go like rook e1 and d5. No, rook e1. Oh, just d5 right. Okay, yeah, Tadev with the tactics, guys. Tadev with the tactics. Yeah, I forgot. Actually, I forgot. I didn't announce it. But yeah, tactics are on for the tournament. So, yeah. Tactics are on. And this is basically resignable for black. It is. Yeah, king has to go back. I think her next move is rook c1. If king goes back here. I think king f7, rook c1 is just like... I mean, you can go e6. At this point, actually, probably just... Why not just e6? You know, just promote everything. Maybe here. Check anyway. And then king e5. Oh, there's so many moves, actually. You almost don't even want black to resign. You just want to like enjoy the position. Is this it? Maybe this is it. Oh, they made move 40. Okay. All right, so Talia will think here, but yeah, game is over. Game is over. White's winning. Han's game's still going. We took a break because they made time control, and yeah, Hans there is now calculating. But this one we're gonna go ahead and say Tadev wins. Okay, king d7. I feel like she's gonna play this out pretty quickly because it is pretty trivial. Like e6 here is easy. You're not worried about rook e6. You're just a piece up. So I think you can just play e6 here. King goes back. And then g4 is possible. You can start with rook h4 and then go g4. You can go king e5, takes, d6. But I don't know if you even want to go king e5 and like even give that. I mean, it's definitely winning, but like you don't really need to do it, so why bother? Maybe check king d8, rook e1. Maybe that'll be the most convincing, and then d pawn pushes. But okay, Tatev taking her time here. That's good. No reason to rush when you have winning position. 30 minutes on the clock. She lost yesterday. Actually, really well played game by Nazi Paikidze. But today, hopefully, she's able to bounce back. And yeah, she's making sure she wins this one. So Han's game, this is where Han's game is at. So they just made the time control. Bishop g5, rook takes b7. Sam played. And actually, we don't really know the eval here. I mean, I thought black is doing well. I don't think it's that obvious. If it was actually, Hans would have already been making his move. So this actually starting to feel very unclear. Because queen takes d4, king will move. And there's like bishop c3 in the position. So, but maybe black has at least a draw here, like take, and then I think queen e3 was suggested. So, still some chances for both sides, I would say. By the way, Andy, this has been Andy's endgame, which is very, very dynamic, very interesting. Because he's got this like clump of pawns in the center, but black has the outside passer. But it's like, how do you... Well, this is how actually you defend, and then you move the rook. So I feel like someone's winning this. I mean, black might be winning this, actually. Andy's struggling so far. He had that amazing game against Fabi, but otherwise he lost to Levon, and then he lost to Oparin, both with white. Generally don't want to do. And now he has white again. So 3 whites in his first 4 games. He might be losing all 3, which is not good, I gotta say. You know, probably not the best strategy. But of course, tremendous experience for Andy. So, and he got that draw against Caruana. I mean, that's like, that game alone is like a huge win for the tournament. Just the way, not like he like defended and like barely made it. I mean, he was pummeling the guy. He was pummeling knight d4. I mean, that was an amazing game against Caruana. So, hopefully he doesn't feel too bad about his tournament. But it would be nice for him if he didn't lose this. Knight c2 white has. So after the king moves, white has knight c2. Rook moves. It just takes on a3. So rook a1, knight takes a3. Okay, so he's okay here then with knight c2. So black is in check right now, guys, right? Black is in check. So king will move somewhere. And then on knight c2, he's ready to take on a3. So king moves, knight c2, bishop moves, knight d4. Okay, probably a draw then. Probably a draw. Okay, good. Go Andy. Make this draw. Oparin Robson is this queen endgame, guys. We won't stay here too long. Just wanted to show. Robson's struggling a bit, 1 out of 3. Oparin, though, he bounced back. He has 1.5. He lost to Fabi. He drew with Hans. Then he beat Andy. So he's having very okay event, actually. Here he has extra pawn against Ray. He'll try to convert this, but of course it should be a draw with best play. How easy it is to hold is beyond me. I would say it's probably on... I do think it's probably defendable though, because generally I feel like, as far as I understand, when the pawns are more on one side of the board, it's it's kind of easier to defend. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I mean, queen endgames are very tricky, and a lot of times, yeah, you do lose them. So, and then Levon still has this rook endgame. He's pawn up, but black is very active here. Rook d3, rook b4 is coming. And then his king can step in front of the d pawn. So I think black is actually holding this one. And Levon just played king e3. Wow, so he is actually sacking this pawn. Because I think if he defended this one, rook b4, for example, hitting this, if you push, then the king is in time to block you. So this pawn isn't really going anywhere. And then it's kind of hard to make progress here as white. So I would think black is like surviving here. Like you can just sit basically. Not sure, but I think that's why Levon plays king e3. So he's offering this pawn so he can try to activate his king a little faster. So he wants king e4, king takes e5, bring the rook around and try to promote. So Levon's still posing some questions here in this rook endgame. Again, guys, 4th highest rated player ever, like of all time in history, of all humans, nay, of all mammals that have ever lived on this planet Earth that we call it. This person playing on the white side has achieved the 4th highest numerical rating by number ever. Hever. Hever with a capital H, guys. Capital H. Hever. Thank you, Chuck Perk. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. We like doing the no engine commentary as well. I mean, I don't even consider it commentary. For me, it's more like watch party. Like, it's U.S. Championships is most important tournament for U.S. players. A lot of our friends are playing, a lot of players that we root for. So it's just kind of, I would be following the games anyway. So it's just fun to follow them with the dojoers, see who you guys are rooting for. You guys actually haven't been too tribalistic. You know, I don't really have a sense of like who's rooting for like Hans or Fabi or Levon. I don't know. It feels like you guys don't really have huge fanship of any, except for Hans. Of course, Hans fans are very dedicated, of course. But everyone else is like, I just want to see good chess. I just want to see some good chess. By the way, Hans made a move. Speaking of Hans Niemann. Rook takes b7, bishop h4 play. Aha. But this forces queen g4. Yeah, I was thinking, like, oh, does this win? No, but queen g4. But then takes rook f1. Wait, hold on. Takes rook f1. Wait. What is white doing here? Queen c3? But then bishop e1, queen e1, queen takes d4. Queen d2. That endgame. Hard to say. Maybe queen c3 I want. Because queen, okay, plays queen g4. And quickly too. So I guess queen c3 was not a thing. Not sure why. Maybe queen c3, rook c6. You definitely don't want to take because black, I think, picks up too much material. And then, I don't know, queen d2. It is a little e3. It was a little scary. So queen g4 played. And quickly, so clearly Sam thought this was forced. But rook f1. And now... what is happening here? I mean, it's 2 pawns up for black after he takes on e1. Is white in time with rook b6? Bishop e6. Aha. Okay, good job, guys. Good find. Bishop e6. Take, king d2. Rook back, bishop d5. Feels like white is holding this. Yeah. Maybe you can take here, but then king e2. Rook f6, bishop d5. Maybe here. Then takes and okay, this should be very, very drawish. Very, very drawish. What else do we have? Rook takes e1 and then king f6. Okay, but then takes like this and f7 is falling. Now there is e3 check there, so there was still e3. Maybe something like this. I mean, this looks very scary, right? Maybe not. I mean, maybe not. Like it's hard to move. And it's very difficult, guys. Oh my god, very hard. Okay, bishop e6 on the board. These guys playing so fast. I mean, what is this? Dojo classical? What are you guys? Why are these guys blitzing out their moves? Rook takes c1. King c2. Okay, king c2. We can understand that. Not walking into e3 check. And okay, now Hans has to figure out how to try and... So basically his issue is that white is wanting to take his pawns. So if he runs out of pawns, he can't win the game. And with opposite color bishops, one pawn might not be enough. Two pawns sometimes is not enough. With rooks on the board, two pawns generally is okay, but it's not so clear if he's going to be able to manage getting two pawns up. Because he has to win this one, and white's going to win this one and this one most likely, and then he has to make sure he doesn't lose that one in the process too. Yeah, it's a good idea, Fisher Sep. Maybe rook f1. Defend this guy and then play like here and here, like e3, and then, yeah. That might keep the most chances for Hans. Man, sharp endgame, guys, huh? Sharp endgame. Check played. Hans sees check. Rook e2 and then rook f2. Why rook f2 and not... Oh, and then just push e3. Yeah, e-pawn could be really strong. I have to say these opposite color bishop endgames for me are very difficult. Like it's really hard to like. Maybe black is just obviously winning, and both players are where I'm like I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Just keeping an eye. Okay, Tato's position is very, very nice. So she got both pawns to the 7th. Check, check. And now just has to find some way to promote these guys. Rook e1 here, yeah? The thing you don't want is to like give check and get blockaded, but even that might be winning if you're able to break the blockade. But it's like, okay. Usually you kind of want to win like this without blockading. Okay, I just want to see this one. I think Tato's winning. Let's go back to Hans. Because this one is kind of So check king d1. Okay, so now we're thinking rook f2, bishop d5, e3, bishop c4, yeah? But then still king g6 and then trying to play f5, f4, f3, right? So let's just imagine this here. Bishop c4 have to play, right? Otherwise, shak and rook moves. And e1 is double check. So here, no, there's no e2 because rook will hang. So I think, yeah, we'd try this one. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. We're promoting. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I apologize. Very nice. Okay, so bishop e2, rook e2, and I mean, we have the right color bishop, so I think this is still winning. Oh no, but here, okay, we have the right bishop, right? So we can just trade rooks, and this would be easy win. So I think this is winning. Rook f2 played. Ho, 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 ho. Guys, we're about to see the fruits of our analysis. Unless he just resigns. Sometimes it's like you spend like 10 minutes analyzing, and you're like, oh, I think he's winning, and then they just like resign. It was so easy for them. It was so easy. Okay, we're expecting e3 because you can't go f5. Pawn is pinned. So e3 played. Oh, he played it fast. Okay, oh, but yeah, you have to go e3. And now bishop c4. So this was, I think, still possible. Like king g6, f5, f4, f3. That also, I think, looked very scary for white. So let's say you push your pawn, but like black's bishop is covering here, and now it's just looks like, okay, I don't know where you go, but you go somewhere, and this is super scary. If here, just as a very simple example, it's like game over. So that's one idea, but this rook d2 might just be immediately winning. So bishop c4 play. Now Han's going to take some time here, because if this wins, he'll play it. And if it's not so clear, then he also has this fallback option of king g6 and f5. Which is less, I mean, that one is very messy, because that one is going to be like a race. White can give check, take this one, like who knows what's happening there, but probably black is faster. But this might just be like mathematical win. And Hans is, of course, very, very strong enough to just see all the way till that, you know, rook and bishop versus rook endgame. And he'll see he has a pawn, he has the right a pawn, like exactly the line we went down, except he'll just see it in his visualization. Yeah, or just promoting, Nilo, just promoting. Rook d2 played. Oh, Hans is winning this one. Hans is winning this one. e2 coming. Endgame might have always been lost. Yeah, I mean, after bishop h4, it all looked very forced, like what happened, and then just went down this path and looks losing. Yeah, I'd be curious if Hans, how much he saw from bishop h4. Because he spent A lot of time on bishop h4. Like, I think almost like 30 minutes here. And yeah, I guess Sam must have thought he's losing either way, because yeah, he played queen g4 pretty quickly and everything. So yeah, I think when he played this, it's very possible he saw bishop e6 and he saw this whole thing with rook f2 and even this. Like he was thinking pretty deep. I'll be interested if they interview him. They ask him how far he saw. That's always the most important question. And we have this whole endgame here. Exactly the endgame, guys, that we were looking at. Indeed, this is what Hans saw. Wow, guys, see, even without engines, we and Hans can come and figure out, you know, the right lines and the right ideas. Isn't that so cool? Isn't that so cool? So rook c7, rook e6. I mean, I think there's maybe still some technical difficulties for white here. Like, it's never easy to win with one pawn, but it does seem winning for black because you can trade rooks, which is super important. The fact that you can trade rooks in pretty much any endgame, like with the dark square bishop, you're winning this. And since you can trade rooks, that means you can kind of stabilize. So rook e6, bishop f6, and should slowly but surely be winning for black. With a light squared bishop, that would still be a lot of work to do because then you couldn't trade rooks, but that would also be winning. But this one, yeah, should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, it feels pretty simple. Like all of black's moves kind of play themselves. You bring your rook, you bring your king. What would be the sort of position white even aims for? No, I mean, of course, if white could, I mean, it's really just all about the pawn. If white can trade this pawn off, then yeah, he can draw the game. Definitely. I mean, that's really it. But given that he can't get the pawn off, there's no pawn break, right? Like black is holding on to the pawn. Let's just assume that, right? Given that he can't get the pawn off, then all he can really do is just sit and try to make it difficult for black to make progress. But yeah, with the extra bishop, it's especially because this pawn is also kind of a target. So at some point, black can just go like bishop e1 and target that one. So like rook e6, bishop e1 is one plan. If he takes this one, then it's over. So yeah, hard to imagine white saving this one. And black has the correct bishop for a pawn. No, absolutely. Very, very important. That makes this, like, I think, much easier for black because he can afford to trade rooks. If he didn't have the right bishop, it might just be an immediate draw because white would go rook b7, rook b6. And then either you trade rooks and it's a draw, or you let me win the a-pawn, and that's a more difficult draw, but objectively a draw. Now, would Sam be able to hold rook against rook and bishop? That's a completely different story. That endgame, can be very difficult to hold. So you definitely see very strong grandmasters lose it all the time. Ooh. Yeah, it should be winning for Hans. Okay, guys, I need to take a quick break. I'll be back. I'll leave it on this game for now, though I expect it might be over by the time I return. But I will see you all shortly. You're watching Chess Dojo. Chess Dojo live on Twitch and YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these short messages. What's going on? It's game over. Hans. So Hans wins this. You'll have +1, half a point behind Wesley, who he already drew. Very good start for Hans because he had 2 blacks. He had 3 blacks out of 4. And he has 2.5 points, +1. I mean, basically perfect start for Hans. It's as if he drew his 3 black games and then won his white game against Ray Robson, which he drew. So, nothing to be upset about going into first rest day. Next, he plays Mishra Abhimanyu, and then Levon Aronian. Then he has white against Fabi. So, lots of U.S. Championship left for Hans. But yeah, looks like he's definitely going to convert this one. Levon still trying in this rook endgame, but like if anything, I feel like he might even overpress. So, little scary for Levon, but I think he's okay. Mishra drew, yeah. Winning with black, bigger morale boost than with white. In general, I would agree. Because it feels like now you get white on the next game, so you know it's nice, and yeah, generally it's like usually you have to work harder for your black wins. Sometimes your white wins, it's like opponent just never gets out of the opening even. But with your black wins, you always have to outplay them. You know, it's rarely easy. Assuming that there was no lucky blunder. We still have this Andy game still going. Actually, Knight C2 did not happen, guys. We were thinking Knight C2, which made sense to deal with the bishop and pawn. Knight C2. But no, E6 played. So Andy's saying that on rook move, he's going to go E7. And then you can't promote because he'll promote. And if you take, he'll take. It's 2 pawns each. Maybe white is a bit better because this d pawn is isolated, but not much. Not much. Probably still equal would be my guess here. Okay, Tadev did win her game. This was exchange stack we were following. Let's just see how she converted. So she did give check in rook c1. And now rook c7 is coming, so black gives the exchange back, but this rook endgame is pretty hopeless because if you trade the rooks, then king and pawn endgame is losing, as Tadev demonstrated here. And game over because black is running out of moves and eventually we'll have to allow the king in. Okay, so good job, Tatev. She bounces back. Other games in the women's, let's see here. We have this game. So Anna Sargsyan won, so she's leading 3.5 points. Carissa versus Alice was a draw. Big matchup there. Rose Atwell wins against Atusa. And this is Irina against Jennifer. So this game is crazy. What is happening here? Let's just all take a second and figure out this checkers looking position. Unbelievable. What a position, huh? What a position. Yes, Fuschess. Yes, exactly. Drawing with white is always a little unpleasant. Drawing with black feels a little nice. How did they even get here? Indeed, yeah. I mean, so this was... Okay, QGD. Queen's Gambit declined. They get Carlsbad structure, some nuances here. Irina, huge experience in these positions as white. Jennifer, I think, also probably has played them as black quite a bit herself. So if they get this very sharp game, opposite sides castling. And c5, b4, and f6, knight e4, bishop c8, going to a6, c4, hg, h6. It's like I'm not sure like who's breaking through first. Knight d2, takes, rook a5. Feels like it's good for black because it's like g file is closed and yeah. So it takes b3, white trying to hold everything together. Okay, feels like this is good for black. Just kind of how we got there. It's like white's position was like falling apart, but Irina managed to just put everything on the dark squares. It's like, how do you break through? How do you break through? Now 12 minutes for Jennifer. Wow, crazy position. But I think she's threatening this. And eventually, yeah, you're gonna have to find some breakthrough here. Wow. Wow, wild stuff. Did I see new World Chess Championship format? Yes. I mean, I didn't really fully understand it. Maybe you guys could help explain it to me. My first question is, what are they doing? I didn't understand what they're doing. So is it like a separate thing? Is it replacing the World Championship? Is it? It's just like is a candidate's qualifier? Is it its own title? Someone could like just explain like what it is actually, because I didn't understand. I saw everyone posting about it, and I was just like, that's weird. Okay, rook b2. So there, it's like okay, if I understand correctly, it's a separate event that they're calling the Total Chess World Championship. But then I saw Emil was saying that it'll qualify 2 spots to the candidates. So it's like they're doing this like decathlon, this chess decathlon of events to crown the Total Chess World Champion, and then that's a qualifier for the candidates for the classical, which is one of the events in the Total Chess World Championship, if I understand that correctly. So it's as if like you ran the Olympics and then you took the winner of the Olympics and then that qualified them for the World Championship tournament. Am I understanding that correctly? It's very strange. Yeah, why don't they just make that the World Championship? I mean, it sounds like that event is pretty cool. Like total world. I mean, it is very strange, right? What they're doing. It wouldn't be strange if it was suggested to replace the World Championship with the decathlon. That like makes sense as a proposal. It's like, hey, instead of this traditional system, we're gonna do this decathlon system with Total Chess World Championship. That would make sense. Then it's like, okay, they want to change chess, they want to do classical rapid blitz altogether. Okay, like, you know, you could be against it, you could be for it, but at least it kind of makes sense. But I don't understand what they're doing. It's like we're doing a Total Chess World Championship, and it's just gonna be like a qualifier to the classical thing. Like, it's very strange, right? Okay, everyone's saying Magnus will be back, but like what's the end game though? Magnus plays the Total Chess World Championship, wins it, and then what? Why would he go and play the candidates? Dana Mirza, hello. Thank you for rating. What's up, guys? We're watching US Championships here. I don't know if you guys are interested in that. US Championship is actually a very, very big event for US players. You know, it's like super important. But we're also discussing this new Total Chess World Championship thing and trying to figure that out. Which I'm confused by this Total Chess World Champion. We were just talking about like, okay, maybe Magnus will play, but yeah, so what if he does play? Then he wins, and then what? He's not going to play candidates and like classical. So maybe the game plan is they're going to introduce this thing, and then they're going to be like, no, this is actually the World Championship now. We're not doing the classical. This is the World Championship. Maybe that's their game. I don't think that's their game plan, but maybe that is going to be their game plan. Thank you, Diana. Thank you. You as well. You as well. So, yeah, I don't know if I would be totally against if they made like this total world championship thing. If they made that the actual world, like they're like, okay, whoever wins in Blitz, Rapid, and Classical is the overall winner. And then if that brings Magnus back and he starts competing again, and then he considers that world championship and he plays in it, okay, cool. So yeah, and then just make here's the win. Here's the win. Make the candidates and the qualifier to the Total Chess World Championship. So the Total Chess World Championship should have like all the best players, and then it should include, and then candidates qualifies to the Total Chess World Championship, and then whoever wins that is like the true world champion. But don't call it Total Chess World Championship because it's like so confusing. So confusing. Just call it the World Championship, yeah? So just do the candidates as a qualifier to the Total Chess World Championship, and then also just call it World Championship. Yeah, Rook B3 here. Back to the game. Rook B3, Jennifer can play right now. And wouldn't White have to take with Rook? You would have to take, right? Because I don't think you can give the queen. And then Black could take with the pawn and just get this like massive, what is that, wooden shield? Oh, you want to take on d4 right away? And then go like rook b2, rook e2? Chess guidance? Oh, I see. Yeah, rook b3 looks strong. I think forcing this and just take with a pawn, and then just like at some point you gotta believe Black is I mean, I don't know, maybe does Black break through? Does Black break through? Okay, but just as a thought experiment, guys, if we just imagine an endgame like this I think is completely winning for Black. Because you just have too many pawns. Well, I don't know about completely winning. Maybe that's strong. Maybe not winning at all, actually. Hold on. I don't know if it's winning at all. We still have bishop d3. Yeah, so I don't know. So I'm not sure, but this I think would be big chances for Black. So you can go bishop d3 earlier, but then, okay, g7, I'm not sure exactly. Probably it's winning. It feels like should be winning. But But I don't think you even get... I mean, I think... Oh, okay, hold on. She took here. So she goes different direction. So takes ED. And why didn't Irina take with queen? There... Is it just like rook b2 and rook e2 maybe? Didn't like this. Oh, so just rook takes g6. And black is up, okay, 2 pawns, but this isn't really about the pawns. It's more just about whether black's heavy pieces can get in. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, guys, 5 o'clock. I got to run. Thanks for hanging out. Tomorrow, rest day, guys. Rest day from U.S. Championships. So no stream for U.S. Championships. Maybe I'll come on, like, play some, like, Blitz or something. I don't know. Jesse, I think, might be on for graduates. But, yeah, we'll be rest day tomorrow for U.S. Championships. So we'll be back Friday. Okay, guys. Friday. Let's see any remaining games. So Han's actually still playing. Wait, I thought it was over, guys. Bishop f2. Why he didn't go bishop e1, bishop a5? I'm not sure, guys. Why he didn't go bishop e1. I mean, that's like simple, right? You take the pawn, you move the bishop, you go a5, you put the bishop on b4, you walk the king in. I know, understand. Okay, Andy Woodward. This endgame chaotic. Oparin, pawn up, still trying to convert, and then we had this one with Irina trying to defend against Jennifer Yu. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for the stream. Let's send the raid over to St. Louis. And catch you all maybe Friday for the next one, maybe tomorrow. Is Hans going to win? I think Hans wins this. Yeah. Absolutely. Alrighty, folks. Happy Wednesday. Try to reflect on your dreams sometimes, but don't work too hard. Give yourselves a break as well. See y'all. Have a good one.